So, Fontaines D.C. have a new album out. Fontaines D.C. are a post-punk band hailing from Ireland who have seen a lot of attention recently in the second post-punk revival we've seen over the past couple of years in the UK. Their debut album Doggerel released last year, and it was an incredibly exciting, catchy slice of proto-spliced post-punk with its jaggy garage rock tone, poetic lyrics and sharp sing-along hooks. Considering it's only been a year since its release, I was worried about their follow-up album not being that good. Although some bands have managed to churn albums out quickly without losing their quality, their post-punk contemporary idols did it perfectly a couple years ago, some fall flat on their face and release something that sounds rushed and unfinished. But with A Hero's Death, Fontaines D.C. create an album that retains a lot of the charm of their debut while heading into a completely new direction entirely. From the opening track, I Don't Belong, you instantly know this isn't going to be the same record with its slow guitar lines, Peter Hook-esque bass lines, and dreams about dismissing the expectations of other people who considered themselves loyal to you. Vocalist Brian Chatton's lyrics tell this bleak story of rebellion with a simple anthemic chorus which blends really well with the soundscape created by the marching drums and atmospheric guitar lines. The following track, Love Is the Main Thing, heads into a similar dark direction with Chatton's almost whispered vocals, the tremolo heavy guitars and the fast and thrashing drum lines contrasting everything. Lyrically, the track is much more poetic than the previous, with its lyrics which seem to be about the way love is thrust onto people as if it's the most important thing in humanity and anyone without it is missing out on life. The first two tracks are both incredibly atmospheric, moody, and almost slow at times, which perfectly display the album's heavy influence from Suicide and Broadcast. Televised Mind is a track that almost feels like this weird hybrid of the first two tracks and the thrashing, gritty post-punk on their debut. The effect-heavy guitars create this murky soundscape which blend perfectly with the incredibly punky bassline and thrashing drums. Similar to much of the album, the vocals on the track essentially consist of Chatton saying poetry with a slight melody thrown in. The track seems to be about the dangers of escapism becoming too much and essentially controlling us. The repetition in the chorus works really well as a way of driving home the message of the track, and I think it leads to some of the most powerful songwriting the band have ever done. Compared to the sweaty, bouncy sound of their debut, much of this album heads into more atmospheric, bleak territories. Tracks like You Said and Sunny are reverb-heavy soundscapes that sound like they could have been plucked from Unknown Pleasures or Turn on the Bright Lights. And with Oh Such a Spring and the closing track No, the band create these incredibly bare and cavernous slow songs filled with atmosphere, depressing lyrics, and really beautiful shimmery reverb sounds. But there are still some energetic moments on the album's tracklist, all of which work really well. A Lucid Dream explores the band's sudden rise to success through these incredibly sarcastic, tongue-in-cheek lyrics about being unprepared for fame. It's sung with rapid-fire delivery over some of the most explosive and chaotic instrumentation the band have ever written. Living in America similarly explores their time touring America, but describing it in the most dark, violent way possible. I Was Not Born sounds like it could have come directly from Doggerel, and I think it's probably the album's weakest point. It's not particularly bad, but there's not really much going on that I like on it. It just kind of feels very average and run-of-the-mill for them. The title track is probably the best song on the album in my opinion, with its blending of that stroke-sounding main riff, Beach Boys falsetto harmonies, syncopated drum patterns, and fantastic lyrics inspired by the repetitive catchiness of positive advertising messages. It's one of the most exciting songs of the year with its punchy, explosive sound that is sprinkled with a dystopian bleakness all throughout. The album in general perfectly describes the almost apocalyptic world we're in at the moment, not by giving us relief, but by pointing out just how fucked everything is. It's one that is constantly powerful, aggressive, yet at times sad and beautiful. The album takes that thrashing punk sound of their debut and blends it with a more psychedelic and dreamlike sound similar to The Cure or Joy Division. It perfectly combines what came before it to create an exciting and incredibly memorable experience. So I'm going to give A Hero's Death by Fontaines D.C. 4.5 stars out of 5.